Today's Game of Thrones review comes in two parts. So if you haven't seen the episode, there's a specific scene that I'd feel more comfortable typing out a blog about than talking about in vlog form. If you have seen the episode, you know the scene I'm talking about. Anyway, let's talk about the rest of the episode. As with last week, this video will contain spoilers, but probably won't be very detailed because not the best details. It took several takes to just get this line right. Let's start with Tyrion. His scene was a sad one. I have a feeling that most of Tyrion's scenes in this season are going to be sad scenes. We hear him talk about how uncertain he is about who killed Joffrey, and he even says that the one person he'd normally suspect, Cersei, would never do this, so it can't be her. We get more of Daenerys. I'm still not sure what to think about this sequence. I mean, my problem with the Daenerys storylines is they do tend to have a very slow pace compared to everything else. When a Daenerys story is good, it's very good, but the time to get to those points, right now it's progressing a bit slowly, and it kind of feels a bit familiar. Daenerys goes to a city where there are slaves, finds conflict, frees slaves. This has been the common theme for a while. I don't know if the plan is to break this theme and do something new, but at the moment it kind of feels like the same old thing. We see Littlefinger again in Sansa's story. He certainly seems like he could have had some involvement in Joffrey's death. It's hard to tell. I mean, he is Littlefinger. A bit more of Arya and the Hound. I like their scenes. They're not the most plot heavy, but they are interesting. The interaction between the two of them is very unique compared to the rest of the groups that the characters are in right now. They have various problems with each other, but they also kind of respect each other in other ways. With this episode leaning more towards problems. I'm curious to see where this story will lead in the following season. I was just about to start editing when I realised I've got one important thing about the episode. More Tyrells. Like I said, I really like the Tyrells. Every scene that they're in makes me like them even more. This scene was no exception. On the subject of who killed Joffrey Baratheon, this scene makes it hard to tell if the Tyrells are or aren't involved. But it does say that if any of them were involved, Marjorie probably didn't know about it. She seems very uncertain on whether she is or isn't the queen. And while I'm here, talking about scenes I should have talked about the first time I was filming, Prince Oberyn. I'm never really sure what to say about his scenes. They're very interesting, and he's a very unique character. I'm not referring to his sexuality, because let's face it, every sexuality is covered in Game of Thrones by now. It's his confidence when talking to the Lannisters. And the character with that much reason to hate the Lannisters is that calm when talking to them. That makes an interesting character. Back to the me of the past. Oh, I think I've discussed as much as I really can about the episode without getting into the scene. I think that's all for part 1. Part 2 will be in my BEDA blog. To be continued.